Hey, Steven here from leadjetty.com. This is the third part of segmentation with ConvertKit. In this video, we're going to look at tags and how we can use them to set up automations and sequences. In the last video, we looked at setting up basic segments, and here we're going to look at tags and how they're a bit different and you can do quite a few more things with them. If you're interested in this series, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we're going to be putting out a lot more videos and showing you real live updates as we grow our email list and things that we decide to do and so on. So if that's interesting, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into setting up our first tags and then looking at how we can use them. Okay, so I'm going to click this create a tag link over here, and this is a quick, easy way just to start setting up some tags. So what I want to do in here is call this something like, it's going to overlap a bit with segments, so don't get confused. It is going to be a little bit redundant in some ways, but it does different things, which we'll see. So I'm going to call this interest convert kit. So we'll save that one. I'm going to add another one for interest active campaign, and I'll do one more like that. And actually, yeah, let's just leave it like that. That's fine. I'll do one more for interest HubSpot. So these are three products that LeadJetty integrates with. We integrate with more, but those are probably the first ones we're going to write some content about. And then I'm going to just create a couple of other things because we're asking some questions in LeadJetty after people fill out a form. And so we're capturing some extra data, and I'm going to need some other tags. So I'm going to say something like interest. Actually, no, I'm going to say audience size. And I kind of like this colon thing here. So like audience is the topic here, then size is the next topic. And then I'm going to say 5K. I think I have that at 5K. It might be 10K. Let's do 5 just to have it. And then I'm going to create a few more like that, and we'll be done. So I'm going to pause the video and do that really quick. All right, so if you look over here on the right side of my screen, now you can see that we have several things set up here. And I'll probably come back and manage these a bit more later, but our audience at the moment is content creators, bloggers, people whose businesses are typically based on traffic and email subscribers and things like that. So basically what I've got going on is I'm going to have forms on particular pages, about particular topics. So there'll be a blog post about ConvertKit. People have some opt-in form. If they opt in, we're going to ask some follow-up questions. And one of the things I want to gauge is how much traffic do these people have. Now, that may not work exactly as I'm intending, and if it doesn't, I'll report back. But assuming that it does work, we're going to be able to send more relevant content to people, because if you've got 250,000 page views, your concerns are a bit different than somebody who's got 10,000 or less page views. So that's the hypothesis. We'll see how it goes. But the point of this video is to show you what you can do once you've set up these tags. So let's assume you've mapped out the different topics on your site. Let's assume that you've mapped out some personas or different stages people might be in, and you've created tags for these things. I'll link down into a blog post in the description on how to do that. What we can do after we have all of our tags set up is we can come over here to this automations tab. Now what I want to do is just show you how to set up a basic automation and a basic sequence, and that should give you what you need to know to actually come in and do some more advanced stuff, and we'll put some more advanced content together a bit later. So if I click new automation here, I'm just gonna, okay, thanks, got it. So you actually have to turn this on in order for this to work, but I want to create automation, not browse templates. So I want to basically set up a single automation here for tagging people. So when somebody joins a form, and I'm going to grab this interest convert kit, and you can see why I named this the way that I did, because it's really obvious to spot. So somebody joins the interest convert kit form. What I want to do is plus here, and I want to add or remove tag. and I want to add my interest ConvertKit tag. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward, and when you read through it, it makes perfect sense. So when somebody subscribes to that form, tag them with that tag, and then I'm going to rename this tag with ConvertKit interest. ConvertKit. And that's basically how to set that up. So we just wanted to turn that on. And that's it. So I have a way of thinking about these automations that may be a bit different than some people, but my background is in software engineering, so I tend to like to keep things pretty well encapsulated and small. So I don't want to stack too much stuff inside this automation, even though that we could. So what I want to do is create another automation, and I'm going to say create automation, and I'm going to say when somebody is added to a tag, interest ConvertKit, we're going to start something else. So what I want to do is basically say when somebody gets this tag added to them, I want to kick off an email sequence. So I actually don't have an email sequence here. So let's just say ConvertKit interest sequence or something. I'll rename this later. I don't think that's all that great. But so we'll add this action here. And so right now what this is doing is saying, okay, when somebody gets this tag added, we're going to add them to this ConvertKit interest sequence. So, and then let's change this name to say start ConvertKit sequence. And again, we can rename all of this stuff later. That's fine for now. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on. So let's go back here and let's just look at what that did. So now we have these two different sequences, or automations rather. One of them is just adding the tag and the other one is starting the sequence. So you might be wondering why I split these up like this, and honestly at the beginning it's just because I'm following sort of the way that I'm trained to think in terms of software development by keeping things separate. But I realized something after I started doing this, that there's other ways that we can actually tag people. So we can tag people from LeadJetty, for example. So somebody clicks on a button in LeadJetty that says they're interested in ConvertKit. Well, we can tag them from there. Suppose we tag them based on the fact that they clicked on a link in an email we sent them. So we can add a tag to them there. So what this does is, like, no matter where they get tagged from, we can actually add them to the ConvertKit sequence, which was actually here. So that way, keeping these things separate allows us to reuse this start ConvertKit sequence automation, because it means anytime somebody gets tagged, no matter where it comes from, they get added to that sequence. Now, that does mean we need to be careful with how we start sequences and all this kind of stuff, because we could end up spamming people by sending them tons of emails if they click on a bunch of stuff. But I'm not going to worry about that until we start getting going with other topics on our site, because we're going to start by doing quite a bit of ConvertKit content, and then we're going to go into ActiveCampaign. So it's actually going to be interesting. Once I start the ActiveCampaign stuff, I'll probably come back in here and do more content on how to do a more advanced setup with multiple intersecting topics and blah blah blah. So we'll see how that goes. Really quick, let's just jump over into sequences and see what got created for us. So this was automatically created. It's basically an email sequence. We can stack up emails that go out and specify when they should go out and so on. I will do a more in-depth video on how to build a good sequence pretty soon, but for now I think I'm going to wrap this up. So at this point, you know how to create tags, you know how to attach that tag with an automation to a form. So when somebody completes a form, you add that tag to them, and then you know how to leverage that event of the person being tagged to start an email sequence. There's a lot of other stuff you can do in here, so I definitely encourage you to play around, but now you have a gist of how this is supposed to work, and I think this is a pretty good system. So what I'm going to end up doing again is building out sequences based on each topic that I'm interested in. I may build some special sequences based on the amount of traffic people have, and essentially build all of that out with just what we've done here. So hopefully this is helpful, and I will talk to you in the next video.